Hi, folks. Thanks for joining us. Either if you're where I am this morning or with you're where Ruth is this afternoon, for another wonderful webinar. Um, Today's webinar is Finding the Singing Voice and Using Solfa in Individual Singing Lessons with Ruth McCartney. So, Ruth, I will let you go ahead and take over. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Danae. Hello, my name is Ruth McCartney. I'm a white woman and I identify as female. I have long dark hair and I'm wearing glasses, and today I'm wearing blue flowers with black cardigan and a black brooch. No, a black necklace. That'll do. So, everyone has a voice. Everyone. So, together with the right material that's in Musicplay Online, we have a fantastic learning tool. And it's important to encourage all children and adults to join in the singing. So starting in a large group is often the best way to get that confidence there. When I say I'm teaching adults as well, it's because I have long COVID, and so I've not been able to work in a classroom because of brain stuff for 2 and a bit years. So I do use Musicplay Online a lot. In fact, loads. So this is why this webinar is all to do with what I've done in school, plus what I'm currently doing. Oh My Aunt Came Back is an echo song with actions. And any song with big pulse-based actions will take the focus away from the singing for those less confident. Because the children are so busy concentrating on the actions, subconsciously they participate in the singing. So let's hear how the song works. On Musicplay Online, it's great because you can see where you sing and where the children sing. If you can, join in with the actions.
Oh, my aunt came back.
Oh, my aunt came back
From Timbuktu.
from Timbuktu
And brought with her
and brought with her
a wooden
Make your
shoe.
foot move on the beat. So this is your
Oh,
foot.
my aunt came back
Oh, my aunt came back
from old Japan.
from old Japan
And brought with her
and brought with her
a waving
How'd you fan?
a waving fan.
Oh, my aunt came back
Oh, my aunt came back
from old Algiers.
from old Algiers
And brought with her
and brought with her
some pinking
Keep
shears.
going on the beat.
pinking shears.
Oh, my aunt came back
Oh, my
So get your foot going.
from Guadeloupe.
from Guadeloupe
And brought with her
and brought with her
a hula hoop.
a hula hoop.
Oh, my aunt came back
Oh, my aunt came back
from the New York Fair.
from the New York Fair
And brought with her
and brought with her
a rocking chair.
a rocking chair.
Oh, my aunt came back
Oh, my aunt came back
from the Calgary Zoo.
from the Calgary Zoo
And brought with her
and brought with her
a nut like you.
a nut like you.
And at the end of the majority of songs, it also gives you some ideas of where else to go. So our objectives for today, for this webinar, are to share ways of encouraging students to find their singing voice, to explore and improve both pitch, the other way around, pitch, both in the classroom and with individual singers, and to use Kodai-influenced musicianship, particularly with pitch-based activities. I started my career as a classroom teacher and a specialist music teacher, and then became more of a specialist music teacher. In 1996, I joined the Voices Foundation and became a senior advisory teacher, supporting teachers in nursery and primary schools across the northeast of England and Yorkshire. Using Kodai-influenced methodology, I worked with teachers in their classroom and made all my own resources. So I have the sort of room that most music teachers have, which is full of flashcards and all sorts of things, because at that stage I didn't have the luxury of Musicplay Online. And as part of a certificate in music education course, my thesis was a school-based practical study into the effectiveness of using Kodai methodology to help a class of 5 to 8-year-olds find their singing voice and improve their understanding of pitch. This involved a full spectrum of ability, from quite severe SEN children to A-star academic children. Now, Denise was a qualified kada teacher, and she presented this kind of progressive methodology in the best practical way possible. So, what is kada methodology? And why am I talking about it in relation to learning about pitch? Kada's methodology utilizes three main steps: preparation, presentation, and practice. The preparation is learning to sing the songs, play the games, subconsciously learning the songs and the material, which are the teaching tools. Presentation is using that song as the tool to then take it apart, sing the song. Can you show me the pulse? Can you work out the rhythm? Can you sing the song and use phrases? Or even perhaps work out the pitches within the song. And the practice is exploring and developing musical concepts. Changing the pitch, changing the tempo, singing in canon, adding an ostinato. But today, I work mainly with teenagers and adults in individual singing lessons, with teacher training and teacher support, with choral workshops, and a new course that I've started called Can't Sing, Won't Sing, which is for adults who haven't found their singing voice, and with a more advanced York Kadai choir. I use Musicplay online materials all the time in my teaching to teach students how to find their singing voice and how to understand and approach the abstract concept of pitch. Zoltan Kodaly said, "Teach music and singing at school in a way that is not a torture, but a joy for the pupil. Instill a thirst for finer music in them, a thirst which will last for a lifetime." And Michael Stocks from the Voices Foundation said, and this kind of, the reason for using this is because it kind of crops up in something I'm going to tell you about. A child with an undiscovered voice is a deprived child, restricted in his or her music making and destined to feel musically demoralized. And I'm not using those words lightly. I've had people a singer who wanted to learn how to sing because she wanted to be able to sing a Christmas carol, in particular, O Little Town of Bethlehem. And so she came for lessons for a year and a half. And we'd got to the stage where she could sing O Little Town of Bethlehem. And she went to York Minster to a carol service specially. And I said, "Well, how did it go?" And she said, "Did you sing it?" She went, "No." I said, "Why?" And she said, because I cried all the time because I knew I could." Which, I'll leave that one with you there. So let's look at the 3 Ps: prepare, present, and perform. Prepare. Using action songs motivates learners of all ages. And we did the song at the beginning, "Oh My Aunt Came Back," adding in the actions. The more actions you add, the less you concentrate on the singing initially. And that was why I would use an action song. And it's easier to learn if you've watched a video of it. And hearing and watching a song a few times before actively learning it gives and encourages more confidence to sing. And that's for the teachers too. So I would always encourage teachers to use videos of Denise working with all ages of children, because it gives teachers the confidence as well as some ideas of what to do. So let's just have a look at hot cross buns.
Hot cross buns, hot cross buns. 1 a penny, 2 a penny, hot cross buns. Hot cross buns, hot cross
And as you will see, if the song you need to use feels just a bit not quite cool enough for what you need for the age of the children, create more complex actions. Wallflowers. This is amazing. Classroom students will love the fact that they can then take the song and in their groups create their own actions. And I'm not the first one to invent this. Denise just said, do this all the way. And in Wallflowers, here is a case that's actually quite a tricky set of actions, rather than just singing the song. My older children really loved composing within a fairly easy structure.
Hi, I'm Mrs. McCartney. Here's a game you can use when you've got a song that teaches many concepts, but not a really good game to go with it. You will need an object that can be picked up. I like a beanbag. You could use an egg shaker. You can use anything that can be picked up. You'll play the game with a partner, and we'll start by practicing tapping the beat. You tap, then your heart. Tap, heart, tap, heart, tap, heart. The trick is, one of you starts on the beanbag, one of you starts on the heart. So partner, you start on the beanbag, here we go. And now that we've got that part, we could actually play the game. Now the game is, if I pick up the beanbag, my partner has to put a fist down. If the beanbag's there, you tap on it with a flat hand. So if the beanbag's gone and you put a flat hand down, you lose and the game's over and you start again. So let's try that part of things. Are you ready, partner? Here we go.
Oh!
Let's try again. Here we go. And that's how the game works. Now what you do is you add the song with the play, and you turn the song now into the tapping and grabbing game. So we're going to use the song Wallflowers. 1, 2, here we go. Wallflowers, wallflowers, growing up so high. May had the measles and never died. Called to my friend Sally's house. She had no relations. Tick and tack and turn her back and wave to the congregation.
Didn't ask everybody to join in because that is so complicated. But it means that the children really have to know the material very well. So it's important to know just how much and how long an impact it can have on a person if they weren't taught to find their singing voice and to sing in tune. Many years ago, I ran an adult daytime course for a company that does adult education. And one very refined lady, recently retired, handed me a card at the end of the course saying, "Don't open the card till you get home." So I didn't. And inside it said, "You found something in me I never thought was possible. I can sing. If I'd met you 60 years ago, my life would have been very different." So we as music teachers really do need to prevent this happening again. So with any adult who wants to be able to sing in tune, with every child, I use kind of the same sort of methodology, the same songs, the same singing materials, following the same progressive plan. And that includes the games. So how do we start teaching in a way that every student or child we teach fully understands the concept of pitch and the singing voice? And so every student can use their singing voice and understand that concept of pitch when they sing. So if we look at the list of possible stages, this works for me. It might not be everybody else's cup of tea, but it works for me. And there are possible stages of vocal and pitch progression that I've found worked with the way that I work. I'd start with the timbres of the voice. And if a child is unaware that they're not singing, but just speaking, we need to give lots and lots of experience so that they can identify the difference between a singing voice and a speaking voice. I'm saying child, but as I say, I use Musicplay Online with adults as well. So let's start with the timbres and qualities of the voice. How can we get to give lots of experience to identify what children, I will go for children at the moment, are doing and what they think they're doing? Because quite often they think they're singing when they're doing that, and it's not singing. So how do we change between a speaking voice and a singing voice? I do like to use Mountaintop Monster to get the children involved, to experience vocal timbre and pitch and comparatives, and a picture to colour to take home. It's always a good plan. So here's Mountaintop Monster. So this is what I would use with younger children. Literally to use different sorts of voice.
On a mountaintop high above the sea sat a great big monster in a great big tree. It had great big ankles and great big knees and great big elbows and a great big sneeze. It was how big? Great big. It was how big? Great big. It had a great big nose and a great big chin and great big teeth and a great big grin. It was how big? Great big. It was how big? Great big. It had great big eyes and great big feet and a great big belly, and it only liked to eat jelly this, jelly that all day. I love jelly, you could hear it say. I put jelly on my lettuce, jelly on my beans, jelly on my hair, and jelly on my jeans.
On a mountain top high above the sea sat a teeny tiny monster in a teeny tiny tree. It had teeny tiny ankles and teeny tiny knees and teeny tiny elbows and a teeny tiny sneeze. It was how tiny? Teeny tiny. It was how tiny? Teeny tiny. It had a teeny tiny nose and teeny tiny chin and teeny tiny teeth and a teeny tiny grin.
And I'm going to stop there because we've got a big voice and a small voice. And I would not describe them as big and small. I'd describe them as loud and quiet. I don't use soft because having worked in schools for children with and students with special needs, they said they were very much aware that soft was not the same as quiet. And so I always use loud and quiet as a result. So we've got loud and quiet. We've got participation. The younger the child, they didn't say the whole thing. They would do part of it. And then we would go, still using the speaking voice, to loud and quiet. Participation was key. Now, why has that done that? Who knows? Right.
Loud voice.
Loud voice.
Quiet voice.
Quiet voice.
Low voice.
Low voice.
High voice.
High voice.
Spooky voice.
Spooky voice.
And already you're getting the children
Nice
to change
voice.
the tessitura.
Nice voice.
Fast voice.
Fast voice.
Slow voice.
Slow voice.
Scary voice.
Scary voice.
Weird voice.
Weird voice.
On the page for Mountaintop Monster, there are lots and lots of other suggestions and areas that you could look into. And at the bottom here, where it will say song activities, this is great because there are often activities that don't initially crop up when they're up here straight away. So, but the song activities is how to teach this. In fact, I'll show you, it's easier. We'll show you, come on, there we are. The tone set, what rhythm it would be. I mean, I always sang jelly this, jelly do, do, do. And so that we had the difference between a singing voice and a speaking voice. It's entirely up to you. But the activities at the bottom are great. extra activities just to add to what you were going to do. Orally and visually, 1, 2, 3, 4 is a great rhyme, which shows you and shows the children how to visually have a link with what they're doing. So how would you like to do 1, 2, 3, 4? Should we do it in a whispering voice? So 1, 2, 3, 4, meet me at the kitchen door. And a speaking voice. 5, 6, 7, 8, hurry, don't be late. Should we do that again? 1, 2, 3, 4, meet me at the kitchen door. 5, 6, 7, 8, hurry, don't be late. And you might use your own cards, your own signs for how you wanted the children to speak. Moving on to pitch. Singing songs, I often found when I was working for the Voices Foundation, teachers would go, hello, how are you? And it's really hard to just sing that note as a response. Whereas if you go, hello, how are you? Or hello, how are you? Tickety, tickety, bumblebee, can you sing your name for me? So we'll go, na, na, ni, na, na, or na, na. 2 notes is easier to find than just a single note. So singing notes with 2 pitches is really effective. And when learned at the screen, you're in a fixed pitch. Create some activities, put them in your music area, and the children will then start at their own pitch, because na na might be easier for Jemima to go na na, in which case somebody will then pitch match her. And you could suit the child's vocal range at the time by moving it away from the computer. But having learnt it, they've then got the option to sing in their own time. So 2-note songs and pitch work are part of the big picture of whole class lessons. And I must say at this point, your lesson can be full of hundreds of different songs and activities with a much wider vocal range too, because pitch can't be just taught in isolation just for one lesson. It needs to be a cumulative way of learning. So the So Me stories, I came across these years ago, and then I was delighted to find so many of them on Musicplay Online. And Bobo games all help with learning the all-important So Me interval. Here's a little bit of a So Me story. Whenever So Me cropped up,
Stories for Juniors
we'd sing and time.
by Stuart Manans. Number 4. So Me. Oh, and Romeo. At the top of the hill, So Me looked at the lamppost for the second time. Something furry moved on one side. Something grey and furry. Something sleek and furry. Something scary and furry. It started to grow, and as it got longer, it curled up. In the distance, So Me's family cat watched suspiciously. She was upset because So Me had called her Fleabag. The first time So Me...
First time through, we'll just listen. Second time through, when it comes to So Me, I'll go, off we go, and everyone will go, if they're younger children, So Me. If they're 6, 7-ish, still in what in England would be the infant part of the school, key stage 1, So Me, we'd sing it. So every time the word came up and we'd see it, because it's really important to leave the language on there as well, so that children see that you're reading a story. We'd then sing. The first chime, we're ready, So Me, had looked at the lamppost, he'd seen nothing unusual, and so on. So we'd use the stories in that way just to reinforce the So Me interval. And also it's nice just to sometimes have a story in the music lesson. Bobo, So Me stories were always a real success. The children would follow the words and later show the pitch with hand signs while listening to the stories over and over again. Bobo's videos are all set at different pitches and allow for loads of practice, accommodating all voices and stretching the listening skills and pitch matching. In such a fun way, it really lends itself to children recreating Bobo's singing and echo games in their music area. I know we're concentrating on 2 pitches at the moment. It's important.
Bo, 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 bo.
It's showing the melodic direction.
Bo,
Sing along this time.
bo, bo,
Bo,
bo,
bo, bo, bo, bo. So you're not the words.
bo,
What's his name?
bo, bo,
Bo, bo, bo, bo, bo.
bo, 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 bo,
A lot of listening taking place there. And a change of pitch.
bo, 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 bo.
And you'll notice that that wasn't as short as the previous one. So it's extending the listening and still changing pitch and still making sure that pitch matching is happening. We're talking about high and low, and so we'd play a game. There are lots in the game sections on high and low. And I know we're still only on 2 notes, but if you don't get those right, it's going to be much harder. Now, this is an interesting one because it's the whole idea of the concept of high and low, not whether it's going up or going down. So because I can't see you, I'm going to assume you all said low. Well done, you all said high. And so on. I'll stop the game because, as you can imagine, he does actually just disappear at the top. And if he gets 10 right, he disappears and thoroughly enjoys himself. I'm just going to move that because that's sort of got in the way a bit and I don't want to click myself off the video. Right. With the games, the whole class plays and we take turns, or we might do it in sides and with one side here, one side there, and choose. With older children, I'd put it into their Google Classroom so that they could play it with each other in the class. Once students have recognised that singing more complex songs doesn't work unless they've actually found their singing voice, they're a lot more accepting of the scaffolding needed to find a singing voice and learn to sing in tune. So let's assume the whole class is now, oh, why are we not going forwards? There we are. Is more confident and able to sing so-me intervals. So moving the pitch to find the child's singing voice is really important. And sometimes we have a few children who struggle to pitch match. If you're singing up here, it's a bit more tricky. So after everything you've done as a class, inspired by Bobo and the So-me videos, I'd get the child to sing first so that I was pitch matching them. So, and by having the child sing first, they can hear what it's like when the pitch is the same. Otherwise, they spend their life always going, everyone's going, oh, I do like to be beside, and they're going, oh, I do like to be, and it's not the same. And it's only when they hear something that is the same that they know what you're talking about. This did happen to me in one of my schools. And so they know what they're aiming for. So if Jemima sings, I go, hello, Jemima, how are you? And she goes, very well, thank you. I need to go down to Jemima's pitch and go, hello, Jemima, how are you? And she'll go, very well, thank you. So, Jemima, can you sing to me? Hello, Mrs. McCartney, how are you? Hello, Jemima, I'm fine. Because I'm so busy concentrating, I forgot to sing the answer. And then I'll say, well, these are your notes. These are my notes. Hello, Jemima, how are you? And she will sing, hello, Mrs. McCartney. Actually, you're a little bit lower. Show me that you can come up a bit. Stand up a bit, improve your posture, anything you can think of. Hello, Jemima, how are you? Hello, Mrs. McCartney. Oh, it was so close. Can you make it higher? And so we'd work together in order to get that pitch matching a little more exciting and a little more exact. That was the word I needed. We started today with an echo song and a song with actions and progressed to songs and rhymes to identify different timbres of voice until the singer's more confident with their own singing voice, it takes a while to increase their understanding. So pitch is such an abstract concept unless you play an instrument, because you play a B on the flute and that's a B. And if you finger that on the flute or the recorder or upper register of the clarinet, it's going to be a G. With your voice, it's less of a kinesthetic thing. So we need to explore pitch more. Autumn Leaves is such a good song for teaching pitch direction. My classes used to sing this as a whole class. Then I'd ask for a solo or group performers to show the pitch. And it's great for you to assess if they can actually hear that pitch moving by step. I'd not expect solo singing to be 100% in tune at this stage of learning about pitch at all. So here's the song. I have advanced singers who can't sing a major scale perfectly in tune. So that is not the point of using that song. The point is it does have a wide vocal range, and you're going to link physical actions to the pitch, because linking something kinesthetic lays the foundation for later solfa work, and they're easy to copy actions. The twirling bit perhaps sometimes would get a little out of hand, but there you go. But at least it landed on the ground in one place. But it gives you an idea of kinesthetic pitch, back learning. Easy to copy the action. And it gives the idea that spatially something is moving down. I'll often use tuned instruments in lessons too, and in lessons sessions with adults. And you can see over this side, there is a kids' glockenspiel here and a kids' glockenspiel here. They're both on Musicplay Online. And I tend to use it. Oh, it doesn't want to do that one. I'll just tell you about it then. And so it does actually play. So if you go into tools, it does actually do it. And you can play, and the children could then play, autumn leaves are falling, do, 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 and so on. Whereas if the clock is horizontal, it doesn't give you that visual concept of pitch. So having worked out that the tune goes down and that the tune or melody goes up again, What do you hear? Are you hearing low to high, high to low? And these activities are on the page with autumn leaves. So, is it no, no? If they go that one or that one, that doesn't help me. I would always get the children to hum it back. Can you show me with your hand while you hum it? Put in the words. High, low. Marvellous. And so on. And we got it right. So there are more questions underneath here. But this is just an example for getting us to the right place. So we have to say that that's really easy and so on. Could we now do this one? This is just a little more advanced for your children. So is it going up? Is it going down or staying the same? Often, I used to find staying the same became just a little bit more, thank you, complicated sometimes. And they couldn't always hear that because they wanted it to move one or the other way. Going up, down, or staying the same. Well done, you're all marvellous. And so on. Press play. Equally, again, marvellous again. Right, and we're coming down. So these are on autumn leaves for other activities to do with the song. Looking at which way the notes go up and down really helps the singer to visualise pitch. On Musicplay Online, the songs used to teach pitch using recognised solfa notes. I'm going to read that again. On Musicplay Online, the songs used to teach pitch using recognised solfa note relationship patterns are introduced methodically and very carefully. So songs would be so mi, then la so mi, do mi so la. So there's a way of adding each one and adding in a new note and adding in a new pattern. And the progression of learning about pitch is integral through singing games, songs, musical activities, alongside the pulse and the rhythm and the comparatives and the listening units. And they're all very much part of the whole curriculum. So we're not just teaching an isolated concept of pitch. In the classroom, I would never have a lesson just on pitch, nor would I work with individual singers or a group of adults of just individuals. I would always do other things around it, so it's not too focused. I mentioned starting with So and Me and stories with Bobo, but I have to say this is probably my most favourite video on Musicplay Online for its usefulness. And using Hey, Hey, Look at Me on this video is a great example of how we feel pitch, how we show pitch, and the progression of how it moves from the game to identifying it kinesthetically. Ooh, doing it again. There we are. And then seeing it on a one-line stave. So I'm just going to play through this. I'm going to, hey, hey, look at me. I am clapping. You can see. So we've done that, but we've played the game. So let's move on. This time, sing and show how the notes go higher or lower, because not every child's going to get it straight away.
Ready, go, hey, hey, look at me. I am clapping, you can see.
Moving on.
Ready, go, hey, hey, look at me. I am clapping, you can see.
Moving it on. Looking at visual notation and representation. Hey, hey, look at me. I'm just going to do it for you, I'm afraid. I am clapping. Oops, wrong one. You can see. Great way to begin to look at notation. It's on screen. So let me just go back. I got lost. The mouse sings, the dog sings, there's poison melody, Hey, hey, look at me. Poison games. So many things. Solfège reading exercises, videos and games to explore with and without an accompaniment. And the pitch activities are really not just, I'm going to move that because this game of Poison Melody is just a bit tricky. So if you think you're just using solfège and it's just simple little games, think again. I'd like you to do this one, and I'd like you to do it with your eyes closed and see if you can sing back. So it's La, So, Mi, Re, Do. It's Poison Melody, and I never got to this stage with my year sixes. I would have loved to, but I didn't get there yet. Haven't got there.
Poison Melody.
So, close your eyes.
How to play. Echo every pattern that you hear except for the poison pattern. The poison pattern is...
So, so, la, mi, re, do.
Ready, set, go.
So, so, la, mi, re, do.
And you shouldn't.
La, so, mi, do.
Anything that isn't the poison one, you sing back.
So, mi, do, re, re,
So,
do.
mi, do, re, re, do, with hand signs, but not looking.
So, so, la, mi, re, do.
So not looking at the screen. If you're looking at the screen, you've got that visual prompt of where the melody goes, but really good for listening skills, I have to say. And that's not one of the harder ones. So Solfa practice pages and activities for each song allow for really thorough learning, changing both the key and the time signature, becoming quite complex as the children become more adept at reading, writing and singing in solfège. With new songs chosen for my individual singers, I get them to sing as much of the song in solfa as they can. It really helps when they start to sing the whole song in lyrics. So let's move on from focusing songs with easier patterns. Here's a song that is in grade 3, a year 3 song, New Shoes. So first thing we're going to do is listen to the song and then look at what's expected for a little bit further on. Here's our song first. More complex song, more complex melodically.
Hide your imaginary shoes. Put up your hand if you think you know who has the cowboy boot. Cowboy boot. Lauren. Acadia? No. Salem? Isabel. Isabel has the boot. Yeah. And who has the running shoe? Put up your hand if you think you know. Joa? Maeve. Maeve has the running shoe. And put up your hand if you think you know who has the slipper. Brady. Gavin has the slipper. Thank you. Good job.
Again, it's a game. Play the game to start it. Once they know the game really well, you've done the practice, you've done the perform. Can we now look at it in solfège with your class? Trickier than with individual pupils.
Ready, go. New shoes, red and brown and black shoes. Tell me, what would you choose if you could buy? I have the cowboy boot. I have the running shoe. I
And there's also an interactive game activity. I always call everything a game, and that way the children go, oh, great idea. So click the button, as it says, to hear the melody. We've learnt our melody, we've got that. Click on the bottom buttons to add a note to the boxes. Choose the wrong answer will make you lose a star, which is up here. When you run out of stars, you have to start again. Perfect. Let me just make that full screen. So, do you remember how it started? No, 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 so, okay, so. Oh no, 1 star gone. So that should be a me. That's lucky. Oh no, got to start again. But that's okay, because the more times you make mistakes, the better you get at it. So the real challenge comes when it's a case of can the singers sing at a different tempo, and can each voice pitch match correctly? Obviously, away from the recording, a student can set the pitch to suit. And I always try to encourage a different pitch setting on each repetition. So there is an extra challenge. Can you sing it using solfege without any help? I do this with my individual pupils, singing pupils as well, quite a lot at the moment. And it does make a difference. It really does. So let's go to year 4, grade 4, when the Solfa content requires students to be a bit more skilled at reading from the stave. This level is Solfa material I'm currently using with one of my 16-year-old individual singing students. In his lesson, we've got a warm-up, musicianship, technical musicianship support in preparation for songs, and then the songs that we're working on. And quite often there's an inconsistency with a certain pitch of an interval, so I might go straight back to Solfa exercises and leave the links in Google Classroom or WhatsApp Music Lesson Diary for them to do between lessons. And there's a real advantage in having a shared online music diary, because we can both look back to the date the work was set, and I can drop in a quick reminder exercise about communication during the week, bit of practice, and I always include a parent if the student's under 18. Protects everybody. And they can also, they like to be involved, they like to see what their children are supposed to be doing, but a good safeguarding net as well. Now, I have one student who, I don't know why that slide has come up there, because that I seem to have missed the one I wanted. Oh, well, never mind. Oh, no, it isn't. Yes, it is. I have one student who still needs to learn quite a lot of music theory for an external exam. So listening games, the tempo games, the rhythm work, note recognition games, all form part of his lesson. But the Solfa games and exercises are brilliant, just to reinforce the pitch and the melody reading. So if we're looking at improving pitch with individual singers, now we've already talked about wallflowers and making a game feel a bit more cool and a bit more tricky, just to help out. It does help the solfege later, and they can be a lot more creative with actions and hand clapping. And if they then teach them to their peers, they reinforce the song so many more times while you explore the musicianship. So the solfege challenges for this group using a stave on the solfa are great for individual practice as well as class activity. Please. You speak nicely to your computer. Good. There we go.
Wallflowers, wallflowers, growing up so high.
Heard this before.
That never, never died. All to my friend Sally's house. She has no relations. Tick and tack and turn her back and begs the congregation. Wallflowers, wallflowers, growing up so high. They had to measles and never,
and so on. So we've got that song in our head now. We've worked out what it does, where it goes. Now let's have a look at it in terms of a tone ladder. Please, machine. Okay. So which notes do we need? We need, you're going to move. Let me move you out of the way. Let's not. Right. So we go. Do we need top do? No. So we'll take it out. Do we need T? No. Na, 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 na. So what's the beginning of it? So, mi, do, so, mi, do. So what's that? So, mi, do, so, mi, do. Do we need la as well? Who could do me a pattern on those notes? Play with the tone ladder. It's there. And it's in with the extra notes, extra activities under the category of wallflowers, as are all of these. There's a piano accompaniment. You have an off arrangement. You've got the game. You've got a harder game. You've got the tone ladder where you can take out the notes you need. And you've got it in solfege as a complex game. So you've got all this information, and I love it, I have to say. So let's move now a little bit further to the toolbox, because there the children have the opportunity
Ruth,
to compose.
Sorry to interrupt. I just wanted to give you a 10-minute heads up before we have to end. So maybe 5 minutes before we start questions.
Right, you are. Toolbox, use them. They're brilliant. It's under toolbox, and you can compose in two parts, 3 parts on the stave, in solfege or not in solfege. Sorry, I was getting carried away. I do apologize. I do know Musicplay Online is essentially an educational school-based resource, but the more I delve into it, the more I find I use it for so many areas rather than just in school. And since using it in the classroom, I've used it more and more with individual singing pupils. This is what I did with Apple Tree with one student, put it all into a Google Classroom. The child who came and said, "What's syncopation?" We had a song. We already had a song for it. And I can then share whatever he needs with it. Blah, 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 blah. I'm just whizzing momentarily here. Further through the programme, older children have songs, singing games with far more complex melodies, such as The Old Maid, which really is a lot more complex. And you'd think, oh, well, whenever you mention solfege and kada to people, they go, oh, they're little easy songs. As we found with some of them, they really aren't little and easy songs. You play your elimination games and all sorts of things, but it's about using that methodology. It's such a sound way of teaching, and there really isn't anything else like it that I've found, and certainly not online, which has as many resources, definitely not online, for teaching using a Kadai-influenced approach. The methodology is sound. It's another way to use Musicplay Online. I love it, and I wouldn't be without it now. Quick précis of the last bit. Done. Let me just find where we are. And there we are, Danae. Done. Gone.
All right. Wonderful. Thank you so much for such a great session. There was so much good stuff in there. I do have a couple of questions from the chat. The first question is, do you include the 3 elements prep, presentation, practice on every lesson, or do you span them out over lessons?
No, I would span them out. It depends on where we are. I would tend to learn something first. I'm just trying to find where my Zoom is. Wait a minute. If I press stop share, I should find it. Ha! There we are. Got it. Right. Just get rid of all of that. Right. Okay. I would introduce it, and that's all. We just play the game. And then the next time we'd play the game, we'd learn it a lot better so that we could change pitch, so that we could do something else with it. I would never really do everything all in one go, not with anything. I don't now, and I didn't then either.
All right, wonderful. And this question is actually mine, just to build on that. Do you spend um, any full amount on each one over lessons, or are there certain ones that you spend more time on?
It will depend on whether it's going well, whether the children have come in from a rainy playtime with the right attitude. If the song's really easy, then we learn it really quickly, and we might develop it slightly, but I wouldn't then say, right, let's add an ostinato to this, because they haven't got it enough. It needs to be repeated a couple of times, just so that they feel really confident and they don't then have the song to think about, because they can do that because that's an autopilot, before they then do something more musical and develop more musicianship skills.
All right, excellent. Thank you. Another question here. Are there any particular keys that help boys, or I suppose students with a lower singing voice? This question says they start to sing an octave lower than the octave I'm singing.
Oh, I play at that point. It's like having a male teacher in the room who decides he suddenly has to sing up here. And I go, no, you sing where you are. This is where it is. But I will do the same thing with, like, this is where I'm singing. That's where you're singing. Can you hear? Right. Jemima. Jemima's a popular girl's boy's name. Ted. Ted, can you sing hello? And he'll go, hello. And I go, I want it up here. That's yours. Sing it with me. We're singing the same. Now I'm going to go up a bit. Here's my note. Ooh, here we are. Hello. Can you do the same as me? Hello. And then we just slowly build it up. And they do exactly the same when boys' voices are breaking. We find out where they are that day, and we work with a pattern of 3 notes or 5 notes, depending where they are, and we go from where they are. But I do show them, look, this is the 2 notes that I'm singing. They're the 2 notes you're singing. Are they the same? No, we need to get the 2 like that, and then we need to actually show. Can you hear it? Can you show me it? Can you change the pitch? Can you make it higher? Can you make it lower? Because they sometimes can't actually hear it. I'm not sure whether that answered the question, but I do tend to go down to where they are and say, well, this is where you're singing. Now, can you bring it up a bit? Are you singing the same as Michael over there? Are you singing the same as George? Right, listen to them. Now, and I would tend to set the class off on something else and go and deal with that one, because it's something that you can't do as a class, really, because it's an individual work, I would say, individual issue.
All right, excellent. Thank you. I'm just checking the chat to see if there are any other specific questions. And if you have any other questions, folks, please feel free to quickly type them in there as we go. I do see one question about finding the slides, and I did answer this in the chat, but in case you missed it, you can find Ruth's slides. Yes, they're on the workshop site, which is very helpful. Thank you, Ruth. It doesn't look like we have any other questions. So in that case, I think we are good to end this session today. Thank you so much, Ruth, for an excellent session. It's always a pleasure.
And I didn't lose my computer halfway through. Winner!